Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So it's Friday and I feel like it's a good day to just rag on Bud Light a little bit. So let's check this one out from CNN Business. Bud Light continues to drag Anheuser-Busch InBev's bottom line in the United States, but the world's biggest brewer sales rose because of higher prices. Oh, interesting. So to offset their drop in volume and sales, they raised the price on everybody. So if you stuck around drinking Bud Light through all this and you said, "Yeah, I'm gonna have their back," well, they didn't have yours. They made you pay more to stick with them over this process, it sounds like. So the company reported a 13.5% decline in the third quarter U.S. revenue per 100 liters, a key measure of beer sales as an ongoing backlash to Bud Light continues. The brand's customers turned their backs on Bud Light after the company partnered with the transgender influencer and then muddled its response. AB InBev said the sales to the U.S. retailer declined nearly 17%, primarily due to the volume decline in Bud Light. In response, the company cut deals with wholesalers, including writing checks to distributors and increasing marketing spend on the brand. But that took a toll on the company's bottom line and contributed to a 29% decline in adjusted U.S. earnings. Tuesday's report painted a bleak picture for Bud Light sales and shipments, of which have weakened dramatically since its brief and limited partnership with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney in the spring. It was the new April 1st thing, the new April Fool's Day. Bud Light lost its long-held top-selling American beer title to a rival Modelo. The Constellation-owned brand has been making inroads in the U.S. market for several years as customers switched their taste to Mexican lagers, and also just switched off of Bud Light because of the nonsense, right? Sales of Bud Light are still sinking, with volumes down 30% year over year for the 4 weeks ending in October 7th, according to NIQ data given to Beer Business Daily newsletter. But AB InBev is hopeful it can turn things around. According to the company's research, over 40% of lapsed Bud Light customers said they're willing to give the brand another chance. I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen any surveys about this, but also I don't know, hanging out at the bars. Maybe they're asking people there, but it's just really weird. I think people moved off of Bud Light and found something better, and it's probably less expensive considering that Bud Light raised their prices. Okay, but that was said by CEO Michael Dukris, who is pretty much known to speak the corporate line and lie, essentially. According to the company's research, over 40% of lapsed Bud Light customers said they're willing to give the brand another chance, said AB InBev CEO Michael Dukris during a Tuesday analyst call discussing the company's third quarter results. I think that's a lie. If you switched off of Bud Light, are you said you're willing to give Bud Light another chance? Or have you went on and found a better beer by now and just now learning that Bud Light actually raised their prices? So yeah, real good job trying to get people back. I'm not buying that 40%. But hey, if you're in that, let me know. And let me know why. What is it about Bud Light that would make you want to give them that chance back? Because I'm genuinely curious. This gives us certainty that we're moving in the right direction. He said, noting that the brand's performance has been improving. We have a good grip on what we need to do and how we are proceeding from there. Well, I think he's looking at the numbers after they raise the prices, right? I mean, we see the reports every week that their numbers aren't getting any better. It's steady 25 to 30% sales and 30% volume drop off week over week. I mean, constantly. And it's the number they reported in this article. So I don't see any improvement in the United States for Bud Light. He's paid to be optimistic and to investors happy and stuff like that, but I think he might be actually fibbing a little bit here. I mean, maybe he's considering the new partnership with the UFC as an improvement, but that's still yet to be seen. There hasn't been an event yet in the UFC to reflect any type of boycott, backlash, whatever, really, to this point. I believe there's one tomorrow on Saturday, but most of the people that had the tickets, people that were going to that, already had their tickets before the announcement of the partnership with Bud Light and UFC. So some of those people might have chosen not to buy tickets had that been the case. You know what I mean? And so even this week's UFC won't even be a true representation of the people that have chose to walk away. Of course, you'll see some results in the pay-per-view part of it because people don't buy it until the night of most of the time. So hopefully what I'm rooting for is that same 25 to 30% drop off that Bud Light has experienced in the United States, that UFC experiences, at least in the United States, if not even further abroad, but I'll probably be wrong. But I'm probably wrong and it won't be that, but I'm still rooting for it. AB InBev has found that its Bud Light's consumers want beer without a debate, and they want the brand to focus on beer, Duker has said. We're taking that feedback. He's repeated that multiple times, but they haven't done anything to actually reflect these words. They have no actions backing this up. The only actions that they've actually had is to continue to fund pride events and whatnot, and that's their prerogative. They can do that. I'm fine with that if that's their choice. But, it's not going to bring me back. It's not suggesting that they're a beer without debate. So, this dude's just a liar to me. They're thinking that they just throw more money at people and the sheep will start buying their beer. It's sad because it's partially true. But the principled people won't be returning. And that's a permanent fixture in this. And so good for those people if you're staying principled and just moving on, because you can't get behind a beer brand or company or anybody that supports this type of stuff. I'm not shopping at Target anymore, which I never really did, but I'm not going to watch the UFC for at least a couple fights. I don't know. We'll see. I might just be done with them. Really, that's the big one that I'm struggling with right now. And I don't drink Bud Light. And I believe it's people with principles like this that can actually resist the big tech ESG way of things, that things are swaying, We see it in Disney. They're getting away from even the woke stuff is what they're saying. We'll see in the next couple years as their productions start coming out post this announcement-ish that they've made. It's not really an announcement, but, they seem like they're kind of going to move away from the woke stuff. So that's where culture is going, and that's because of people that are staying true to these principles, right? So in an effort to jumpstart sales, Bud Light has been rolling out marketing campaigns and partnerships it thinks will placate fans, because they think their fans are dumb and they'll just go back and buy their beer. The company has, for example, run ads featuring NFL players, which include taglines like easy to drink and easy to enjoy, which is pretty much nonsense because, if you're an NFL player that takes your craft seriously, you're not going to be drinking beer during the season and very minimally in the off season, especially while you're a player. And it's weird to be doing advertisements telling other people to do it when you won't do it yourself. But anyways, that's besides the point. And last week, the UFC switched their beer sponsorship from Modelo to Bud Light in a reportedly record-breaking deal as part of AB's revitalization efforts of the brand. And the bummer part about it for Modelo is that they just actually became America's #1 selling beer this year, mostly due to the backlash from what Bud Light did. But hey, that's not Modelo's fault. It's just kind of crappy that the UFC would drop Modelo to switch to Bud Light at a time like this for Modelo. We understand that, Anheuser-Busch offered the UFC more money than everybody else, even though Dana White wants to pretend and act like they didn't. It just seems like it should be the other way around, If Bud Light's on its decline, you'd move away from it this year and move to Modelo, but whatever. I guess the UFC wants to lend their clout to Bud Light and mess up their octagon with Bud Light graffiti and stuff like that. For the past 6 months, when people think of Bud Light, they think of Dylan Mulvaney. So now when they look at the octagon, they're going to be thinking about Dylan Mulvaney. Congratulations, UFC. You've ruined your brand. And if you agree with that, hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and share this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.